as you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
Welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. On today's programming... What's up, guys? It's What's up, guys? We're back from for
Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
That's right. We were just joking. We were doing that in our ears when before we started, and we thought it'd be really funny. It's funny.
And I realized I can't talk quietly like that. It's
Right.
not a physical impossibility for me. Or not a physical possibility.
Yeah, you physically, her voice cannot talk like this.
I can't talk like... Oh,
Hi,
there we
everyone.
go. I got it.
I'd like to welcome you.
We're going to talk to you nice and quiet like.
But we're back for a brand new week, guys. We're going to be talking about two movies this week. One being The Keep and...
The Church.
That's right. Yeah, so we might have done The Church here in the past, but I don't think we ever gave it the full justice that it deserved. So we're going to give it a brand new BTV polish and break it down for you all. But so stick around for that. We are going to be skipping the news because these two movies have a lot of information about them. So just buckle the fuck up and get ready. But how you been, Brittany? How things going?
Good. Things are good.
Do anything cool?
It's been busy. No,
Yeah?
I haven't really done anything cool.
I forgot like everything that I did this past week, guys. So you'll have to forgive me. I'm trying to piece it together in my head, but like I don't have like days. Like I just have like one big work week, I guess it feels like most times, except for yesterday. I think I put up some articles or something or did something, but I took the day off and was like, I'm just going to relax.
Yeah.
I put my phone down. That's why I didn't respond to you right away. I was just like, fuck this. I think I watched 3 episodes of the Legion show, which is that Marvel TV show on FX, which is actually really good. I like it. It's really stylish, kind of funny. Mm-hmm. I like it. It's kind of dark. It's like really dark at times. So, but I don't know. I'm really into that. One of our listeners and friends, Sarah 5 Era.
Hi, Sarah.
She actually suggested it, and I was like, I'm going to look into this. And I watched the trailer, and then I was like, why haven't I watched this? Okay, I'm going to try it. And so I did, and man, I really enjoy it. So thanks, Sarah. Thank you for bringing us together. I've been watching a few other horror movies and playing that God of War game, though. The new God of War, which I don't know what I think yet. I don't know if it's like God's slice of bread that everybody's giving it credit for. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, BTV stickers are back. The vinyl stickers from our friend at Jars from Mars is putting it up. She has many different sizes, many different colors, so that you can pick whatever you like. They're actually very affordable, and they go to help out the podcast here. Plus, show your support for what we do. So if you haven't picked up one yet, it goes a long way to help us out. All you got to do is just follow the link below or go to the Etsy account. I've posted it on all the social media so far this week, so as of yesterday for you guys. But yeah, check it out and definitely help if you can support to the podcast. It goes a long way to help us keep the lights on around here. So, but that's pretty much all I have. I've been working behind the scenes, trying to come up with a new logo for the band, the side project band thing I showed you.
Yeah.
It's not finished, but I just wanted to kind of get an idea so that the guy who's doing the logo work can be like, oh, okay, I kind of have an idea what you want. So
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
I do have one thing. So my husband's band released
a song off their newest album.
Oh,
a little
okay.
Teaser or whatever. So this is their newest song that they have. My husband's band is called Sound Man Kills.
That's what you had to look up.
No. I know the name of his band, and I know the name of the album. I just wanted to make sure that the name of the album was the same as the song that they released, so I don't
okay.
sound like a piece of shit. Anyway, and that Sound Man Kills with a Z, so it's SOUNDMANKILLZ.
One word?
Out there. One word.
Yeah.
Their new album is going to be called Spectres and Ghosts. The new song that they released up on the YouTube
On the
is also called Spectres and Ghosts. If we are friends on the Facebook or whatever, and you can't find it, you're stupid. But I'll send it to you anyway.
We'll post it on the thing.
We should post it on the thing because it's really good, and their
Yeah.
album cover is fucking tits. So
I haven't even looked at it. I've just been.
and their new song is fucking incredible.
I'll have
I'm
to
not
check
just
it out.
saying that because I'm married to a band member.
So wait, there's a video?
It's just like a picture.
Oh,
They didn't do an
okay.
actual
I was like,
video.
what the fuck? Like, wow, that was quick.
Yeah, no, they just did. The
From
song,
conception to like video fucking. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, no, the song's like complete recorded, done.
Okay.
So, and the album is, I'm pretty sure, still in process. I don't think they're done with the full album yet.
And
but
just so you know, guys, we were paid by them to say this.
I wish.
I'm kidding.
Fuckers. But yeah, they're awesome. It's a great fucking song.
Yeah, if you
I'm
like
really
rock
impressed
and
with them.
alternative sort of
Well,
thing.
they're metal,
Yeah, it's metal art, but it's like a mix of a lot
but
of
it's
things.
metal where like you can understand what
Yeah,
you're
like
saying.
they
so,
sing and they do scream a little
like
bit, but it's not like
metal rock.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. It's fucking good. I don't care what
All right.
anybody says. Eat a dick.
I need to check it out now too because I haven't listened yet.
Yeah, you
so.
should, you fucker.
I don't Facebook well, so
It's a good. You don't Facebook. Word.
I really don't.
It's
Like
a really good song.
I had some a little bit of a run in here. I'm gonna be honest. I did I told you about this. I'm not gonna like go into details about this, but I did a Kickstarter for the Evil Dead 2 board game back in July of 2016. You know, shit happens. Sometimes like these projects on Kickstarter get pushed off and pushed off. Like it got pushed off into February of 2017 and they put out a Terminator board game at that time. And then like a few months later they put out a fucking what is it? The omnibus for Evil Dead 2 comics for Space Goat Productions, by the way. And they kept putting out stuff on Kickstarter, and we never got to see our stuff. Well, that would have all been fine because we understand these things cost money, they take time, all of that shit. But we just got a update, and it was asking us to buy shares in their business through another share,
Shady.
like crowdfunding fucking investment page.
Yeah. it's
And
weird.
that's when everybody was like, fuck you, dude. Like, where's our fucking game? Like, we've been waiting for updates. They're like, oh, the figurines. So I don't know. I'm not trying to talk smack. I understand these things happen. Maybe they did. You know, when you have a business, not everybody knows how to run it. It's very clear that that's one of the reasons. But I think the big thing is that instead of us finding out what has happened for the past 6 months, we've been getting the runaround from everybody. And then we get this thrown in our faces. And they even tell us, oh, for the past 6 months, we've been working on this. And it's like, man. So now, if they don't reach about 250K minimum, we won't see our board game. And they're going to close up shop.
glorious.
Neat. I understand, guys. Kickstarters aren't fucking, you can't trust them all. We get it. But if you're transparent, people get it. But they raised out over $1 million in 3 projects. And it's gone in less than 2 years. In 1 year's time, pretty much.
Yeah, but someone's house is now paid off. Their car
Right.
is paid off. Their girlfriend probably got a nice engagement ring.
Yeah, I got a big picture of a middle
Yeah.
finger.
Yep. Someone's life is great, and everybody else doesn't get anything that they bought.
They're paying thousands of dollars in advertising for their investment crowdfunding program
Crock of shit.
on all these different horror magazines and stuff. So if you guys see it, I mean, hey, you know what? It's your investment. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but
I am.
It's
Don't
good.
fucking do
yeah,
it.
It's good to know that the 3 back Kickstarters that started have not been fulfilled yet. So you are gambling a little bit. So think about that. I don't hate the people who did it, but I just feel like I've been lied to for a long time. And I was one of the quiet ones while everybody was upset about all these little things. And then when I saw this, even Angry Joe from the Angry Joe show came on the Terminator board game that they did and said, this is not cool. So probably have a video about that soon. There's a lot of articles popping up about it now. So I don't know. I don't know if you're one of the backers, because I know I told you guys to back it because I was so excited about it.
Led the sheep to
So
slaughter.
that's part. Yeah, I know, and that's part of why. I mean, I didn't know that was going to happen clearly, but I feel like I have to say something so that they know, because a lot of people have just been sitting there waiting. A lot of people aren't getting refunds. I have heard that if you actually dispute it with your credit card company that you have not received a product in
You'll
time,
get your money back.
they can put in a 48-hour notice to the company that they got the money from, and they have to pay it back, or the funds automatically get drawn out of theirs anyways and put into yours. So
Which makes sense.
that's a
fraudulent.
workaround. For me, I already spent the money on a card that I don't even use in a different bank. So I don't even, I'd have to go back and do all kinds of shit. So pretty much at this point in time, it seems like unless somebody's willing to buy the company, we're not going to see the game.
Yep.
So, and it's not off to a good start. I think they got like $5,000 or $6,000 raised.
Side note,
Yeah.
I want my own show called The Britney Smash Show,
The Britney Smash.
where I just like talk shit about stuff that makes me angry.
Oh,
The Angry
I was
Joe
like,
show.
wait, what?
I want a Britney Smash show.
Yeah, I was like, Britney smashes this person. You're like, kids say smash when they're talking about fucking.
Oh, that's right. Because
So-
kids fucking ruin everything.
Right. Well, hey, I'm trying to stay
Thanks,
cool.
Jersey Shore.
Hey.
Fucking pieces of
When my
shit.
fucking computer's not working, I just punch it. You know, all the kids love
Punch it
fonts.
up. Blah.
They love fonts, you know?
Love font. What?
I'm fucking old.
I'm
Anyway.
fucking old.
Anyway,
I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I'm so confused.
I think it might be that time. Oh shit! Horse shots! All right, guys, so we're back. We're going to do our horror shot for this week, and we always pick one of the movies that we watch to kind of do a shot or whatever we're doing this week. And so we watched The Church and The Keep, and we thought, which one did we want to do? So we thought we would do one based around The Church. Although, I did grab these little guys, which kind of look like the weird creature in The Keep.
Yeah.
So the shot glasses, although it's not, it's just there to like be like, I'm sorry to The Keep.
I'm sorry.
So technically we're going to be calling this a Lotte Communion shot, which is basically one of the characters from The Church who Asia Argento plays in the movie. She's like, I think she was like 12 or 13 at the time.
Yeah.
She actually did the part of the chaplain or something, the chaplain's daughter.
Sure.
I don't know. But anyway,
Sounds right.
we figured it's a church. And what do they do at church? Well,
They drink the blood of Christ.
they drink the blood of Christ.
In Catholic churches.
Well, they've changed the wine into grape juice, so we figured we'd add some grape juice into this little son of a bitch.
Not in the good old-timey churches. You go to a good old-timey church and that shit is wine.
Right. Well,
For everybody.
for what? Like Catholic churches?
Catholic churches.
Most people don't go to Catholic church
I believe
anymore.
it's just Catholic church that does the communion and the wine. The
we
wafer and the
always use grape juice, and I didn't want to. We did buy some, and we use like legit Welch's 100% grape juice, which I was insistent on getting.
Also 100% sugar.
Is it?
Probably.
But we also did get a spritzer from Barefoot. It's a summer red spritzer, which is essentially a champagne of wine sort of thing going on.
Sounds delicious.
So you're going to put a 1/3 of each in. And if you don't have that, try some ginger ale
Spill it
or...
everywhere like Alex did.
Yeah, whatever. It's my fucking desk, Brittany.
Why don't you spill another drink?
And then the final ingredient, which everybody loves.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. Let's mix that shit.
You better come over here and grab this because I can't.
Oh,
I'll
no.
spill it. So I'm going to take 2. Yeah. In actuality, you should probably put like a half a shot of gin in it. Oh, did we say? Oh, we're putting Tanqueray as the of the.
I had to sip mine because it was so full, and it's really good.
So it's like do a half a shot of the Tanqueray gin variety.
Wow.
I think it is the only variety of Tanqueray that you can get. By the way,
Pretty sure. Pretty sure that's all they made, because gin.
I don't know what I'm saying.
we could be wrong, but I don't fucking
There
drink
might be
gin,
like a
so-
lemon Tanqueray or some shit, but this is the regular version.
I don't drink gin.
So about a half a shot of Tanqueray gin, then about a 1/4 of a shot of the spritzer, the red spritzer, or any kind of like...
Backyard barbecue on the
if you have champagne, you could probably do that, or just ginger ale. Just add more Tanqueray if you got that. And then, of course, just a fourth of the Welch's grape juice. So before we take the shot, I would like to rehearse a moment from the movie before we drink. So I'll say it 3 times, okay?
What are we saying?
You'll see.
Oh, God.
I'll say it 3 times. So if you've seen the church, you'll know what the fuck I'm talking
Am I
about,
supposed
guys.
to say it 3 times?
I'm going to say it 3 times. You don't have to, because you may pick it up after a while, but I'm going to do it 3 times.
Well, you may pick it up.
You're going to pick up what I'm putting down. Latte.
Latte.
Latte. Ooh.
I'll take another. That's good. For real, though. That's delicious.
So sometimes we take 2.
That's really good. I want another one.
It's that grape juice, that's why.
Well, you put a lot of grape juice in it. There you go. Tanqueray it up. Don't be a bitch.
Oh, I ain't gonna be no bitch.
It's like chewing on pine needles.
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
that's what it is.
Yeah, you don't do shots of gin. Period. So
Well, you can take, it's like a gulp, because you're not doing like a whole shot. You're supposed to sip on it.
yeah, it's supposed to be like
Sipping on gin and juice.
yeah, but it's supposed to be
Laid
mixed with
back.
something. It's not supposed to just be like gin on the rocks. Like it's supposed to be with like juice or
Juice.
tonic water.
I'd definitely not be a surgeon, by the way.
You're fucking like Parkinson's and
I'm being serious. Like, it's really shaky. I feel now. You know what?
Let's watch
Now,
how still I can hold this.
now I know what Doctor Strange feels like. You know, to him,
I'm legitimately.
Cheers.
I can hold this still.
to his broken, weird fingers. Grape pine needles.
Yeah, that one was more ginny.
Was it? Yeah, I put a little extra in there because I didn't want to waste it. Because I'm never gonna drink this shit again. Do you want it?
No. No, I don't fucking want it.
I don't like gin. So if you guys would like to find out how to do a Lotte Communion, all you got to do is go to longlivethevoid.com and check out our hashtag HORRORSHOTS section now.
Say 10 Hail Marys.
Yeah. And make sure, you got to kneel when you take the shot. We probably should have done that, huh?
Probably should have. We did. I mean, what do you mean? We did.
But that's it for Horror Shots, guys. All right, guys. So this week we're also going to be skipping the news because these 2 movies, as I mentioned before, are super jam-packed full of information, and it's actually quite interesting. So I did a lot of research, so I'm pretty sure you're going to like it. But why don't we just go ahead and jump into our flesh and potatoes of the church and the keep. Before we do the church, but you're going to want to stick around for the church because we got a lot to say about that. So pull your chairs up, pull your pants down, and get ready for a brand new episode. Just kidding. Go ahead, Brittany.
Hope you shaved. What do you mean, go ahead? It's your turn.
Wait, am I doing the keep? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Derp.
So the keep came out in 1983. The story is, during World War II, a group of German soldiers use a keep, or what they call a citadel, to hold up in as a strategic location during the war. When one of the soldiers disturbs one of the many nickel-plated crosses in the keep, looking for silver, a 500-year-old demon emerges to escape, and things go from bad to funny. Or boring.
Boring.
I'm not trying to be mean. I actually do like this movie, but it is directed and the screenplay was written by Michael Mann himself. He was one of the people that did the movie Thief back in the day. Also Manhunter, Ali. He also wrote all of those and went on to make Miami Vice a thing. And he also did the movie Heat. Also, the visual effects are done by Wally Weavers. Music by Tangerine Dream, believe it or not. So,
oh, shit. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
The cast includes a lot of people, and I'm going to go through these as fast as I possibly can. First of all, we have Scott Glenn, who plays Glaken. He was in the movie Gargoyles, Apocalypse Now, The Right Stuff, The Hunt for Red October, Silence of the Lambs, Backdraft, Bourne Ultimatum, and the TV show Daredevil, to name a few. So he is well steeped in the arts of acting. Then we also have Sir Ian McKellen, who plays Dr. Theodore Cruz. He is Gandalf from The Lord of the Rings, obviously. The Last Action Hero, The Shadow, X-Men, and about 50 bazillion other movies.
Yep.
Also, it stars Alberta Watson, who is Eva Cruz, his daughter, who was in the movie Hackers, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, La Femme Nikita, the TV series, Spankin' the Monkey, and the TV show 24. Also in the movie is Jürgen Prochnow, who plays Warman, who was in the movie Das Boot. That's what he in before this movie, by the way. Dune, Killing Cars, Terminus, Beverly Hills Cop 2, The Seventh Sign, I always remember him in, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk With Me, the movie, and of course, as Kane in the movie In the Mouth of Madness. Plus a shit ton more, guys. I always remember from The Seventh Sign and In the Mouth of Madness the most, though.
Yeah.
The late Robert Prosky's in this, Father Fonescu. He is in Christine, Gremlins 2, one of my favorite roles in there, where he plays Count Dracula. He was also in Death to Smoochie, Last Action Hero, Hill Street Blues for like 50-some episodes. He was pretty popular there for a little while, but you would never recognize him because he's got a Brother Hezekiah beard like on like that. You just don't even recognize him.
I totally recognized him.
I did because of his eyes.
Yeah.
You know, but he's just he usually plays like fun roles, like happy roles. So seeing him in this was a little, I don't know. Also, Gabriel Byrne is in this movie. He plays Kempfer, the guy that was in The Usual Suspects for one of the small movies, you know. Cool World, another small movie. End of Days, Point of No Return, Stigmata, Attack on Precinct 13, the remake, and Hereditary, which is coming out soon. So I can't wait to see that. Also, it stars, and I'm just going to keep going, guys, Michael Carter, who plays Radu, or the big skull-faced creature thing. What do you call them? What do they call those? Golem/demon.
Yeah.
Sure. He basically was also in Star Wars Return of the Jedi as Bub Fortuna. He was the thing with that long trunk on the top of his head with the weird jagged teeth. Also, he was an American Werewolf in London. He's also done voice acting in the games Demon Souls and Dark Souls. Also, a very small bit part, but I felt like I should bring it up. Bruce Payne is in this movie from Warlock 3, Highlander, Solar Babies, Necronomicon, Full Eclipse, which we've covered on this show before. He was only like a guard, like an outdoor guard, but I just thought it would be good to bring him up. There's quite a few other people that became bigger because of this movie that I could name off, but I think we should probably stop there. I could seriously go on. Too many fucking people.
Overhead.
This movie was made on a budget of $6 million, and it made about $3.5 million at the box office. It was a disaster and a flop. It's got about a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, but honestly, it's gained a pretty big cult following. And there's a fuck ton of history on this that we'll get into shortly. But first, Brittany,
What?
what did you think of this movie?
Moonvie.
Moon, that's me.
Moonvie. All right. So, it's not a mystery that there's a lot to unpack in this film.
Right.
If you're looking for a straightforward, easily understood story that crosses its T's and dots its I's, you're not going to find that here. You're just not. Instead, you're going to discover a unique realization of a story that's been told often, which is that of conflict between ultimate good and ultimate evil. Albeit in overly symbolic context.
Yeah.
Visually, there are plenty of dreamy images that do spontaneously pop up, and while the pace is very slow, the eerie setting holds up tightly and does have a huge impact in the overall feel of the film.
Right.
So if you let go and stop looking for flaws or reason, you're going to leave this experience satisfied in some possible way.
Yeah, once you've been knocked out by all the flaws, then you're good to go.
You're good to go, pretty much. And last but not least, be prepared for a massive vape cloud of justice, as my husband so lovingly refers to it as.
That's pot smoke, bro.
Yeah, close enough.
He's high as fuck.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It was a lot.
So does that's your thing?
That's my thought.
So does that mean that
my
you
poignant, beautifully worded thoughts?
Yeah. What is your just like overall quick poignant thing? Like, what do you think? Did you like it or not?
No,
Okay, there we go.
not really. I mean,
So there it is, guys. That's it for the episode. I want to thank you guys for coming. No, I'm just kidding.
bye. Yeah, no, some of the visuals saved it for me to make it a little bit more interesting, but overall, I
Palatable.
just don't care about it. Not that I don't care, it was too much.
Well, let me kind of tell you and start this off by saying that this movie is definitely not going to be for everyone.
No.
I've fallen asleep on it numerous times watching it before, and I don't know why that is. It's not that it's like horrendous or anything. I've seen far worse movies,
Right.
but there is just something about it that sticks with me, so I kind of like it. You know, it's weird. Has like, and I felt like this even before I did the research on this. By the way, I felt like it was very dreamlike.
It is.
Because everything's kind of hazy and just doesn't make sense. Which apparently, from the research that I have done on this movie, it explains a fuck ton. But first off, Nazis and mystical, weird, supernatural shit is always going to be interesting. Like, I don't know what it is about the combo there. Not exactly the Nazi part so much, but the fact that there is some extremely crazy motherfucker in history who not only did what he did, this scumfuck, but also...
Hitler.
Yeah, Hitler did some fucking crazy shit. He was able to convince people something so insane, and to top it all off, he was such a fucking nutbag that he scoured the world for supernatural edge like stuff all over the place. I think it could be in part because of like some sort of like mind tactic to control people by scaring them into submission.
Right.
But it doesn't really relate to the story too much anyway. So, but it still crosses the two of supernatural and Nazis, which is always kind of interesting. The movie has been called more of a fairy tale than it is a actual horror movie, which, you know, listening to Tangerine Dream in this is hard not to make the comparison. So even if it's in like, cut up and like indiscernible, like I think that's probably the most redeeming thing about this movie is a few like really pretty shots, a lot of really creative shots. I think it's been cut to fuck. They lopped off about 2 hours worth of footage, guys. So if you've seen this movie and didn't really understand it but are still intrigued by it, that might make sense as to why it doesn't make sense. But also there's more about it later that I'll tell you that it was never supposed to make sense to begin with. It is weird and confusing. Michael Mann has called it a dream-like movie where it doesn't necessarily make sense in a dream, so it won't here either in its full form or its short form. Some of the gore is pretty cool, and at times it kind of reminds me of the movie Prison, if you've ever seen that movie, which is another weird horror flick, especially with this like opening wall of light thing going on. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of interesting and ominous. It's pretty much impossible to really understand what the fuck is going on almost for anyone. So it's understandable that some don't like it, and it's also kind of fascinating in the same respect because people want answers about it. Like, they don't understand it. The creature is fucking crazy. Like, I've never seen anything like this in a movie in such a serious role with so many fucking actors like this. It's like something out of Mortal Kombat or some shit.
Yeah,
Like,
it reminds me of a video game character.
right. It just seems like so out of place.
But it's like first form is the best form in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. I'd say some of the visuals are genuinely appealing for that reason alone, that specific scene.
Yep.
The music is really great, although it's up in the air whether or not you actually listen to Tangerine Dream or not, because there's so many different versions out there, and we'll get into that more. But I think it's a little bit slow for most people to watch in the first place, and, you know, I wouldn't eat a full meal before watching this. This is like one of those movies you watch when... like Sunday when you wake up.
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have watched this first.
Right, yeah. I watched it, I think. Oh, no, I did watch it first, actually.
I didn't.
Yeah. But I watched it late at night, and it was not a good combination, so I had to go take it back 45 minutes because I fucking nodded off a couple of times.
I've been there.
And I don't like doing that with any movie, so it kind of upset me that I did.
Yeah,
but...
I was amazed that this happened to you this time around because I
Right.
felt like I thought it was gonna be me.
Well,
My ass stayed awake.
we ate fucking Chipotle, and I
Ugh.
fucking macked on that shit like a fucking fucking starving kid. Like, I was just like, mom, 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 mom. And then I sat down and laid.
Never eaten before in my life.
But I just like, I don't know, it just kind of fucked with me.
Yeah.
So
It's Chipotle.
it was heavy.
Gross.
It was really heavy on me, and I ate like a bunch of steak, so my body was like, shut down. But I don't know, man. Guys, like, if you haven't seen The Keep and you like, Nazi kind of stuff, it might be worth a watch, because I think that there is some really odd shit in this movie, but there's some things about this movie that the director wanted to kind of get across. And just think of, like, movies like Nosferatu, which was, like, German sort of style fucking horror movie. So he really just wanted to push that angle of it. So it's not going to be for everybody. It's weird enough for people to sit through it, though.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth a watch, especially when you find out that there was 3.5 hours for the whole movie. This was, like, his magnum opus on a $6 million budget.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Where did that money go?
I don't know, man. It's weird.
For the 2
though.
hours that were cut from the film?
Yeah, 2 hours, man. And there was so many problems. I can get into the trivia right now if you want me to.
Do it.
It's pretty interesting,
That was really loud.
guys.
Sorry, guys.
So The Keep is actually a horror novel by American writer F. Paul Wilson. It's also the first volume in the series of 6 novels known as the Adversary Cycle. So if you're interested in reading the original book, I hear it's actually really good. The writer who actually wrote it, F. Paul Wilson, was pretty upset about the adaptation of the movie, and he wrote another story basically about this whole situation, where the book was called Cuts, where a writer puts a voodoo curse on a director for fucking up his story.
Neat.
So he was not happy. But to be fair, as I mentioned before, the original cut of this movie was 3.5 hours long. So there was a lot of scenes cut, and Michael Mann has pretty much since abandoned this and called it a bastard child that he just doesn't want anything to do with. He's like disowned it. I think it would be great to see the rest of this footage. And there have been people online for years trying to get to see it because it's not lost footage. It's just up to Paramount Pictures and also Michael Mann to decide whether or not they put it out. But there are a few scenes that you can watch, like some of the original endings that I found on YouTube and stuff that I watched all the way to the end. And I will talk about that a little bit more in our spoilers section because I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it. But apparently a few TV stations elsewhere had some of the original footage from it and it edited it for TV. So they actually had more footage than the regular movie, which is weird. I don't know why. But it went way over budget. In fact, Michael Mann was like pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. They shot 13 long weeks. It got extended to 22 weeks because of reshoots. Because Michael Mann wanted it to be perfect.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Right? And then they had alternate endings that they were trying to work with to have the best ending possible. And they were going to test market it. And but it never saw the light of day. None of that stuff did. Especially since a lot of the visual effects who were done by Wally Weavers apparently died during post-production of the movie, which was about 2 weeks into post.
Oh, wow.
So he was going to do all the effects on the end scene, and nobody knew what he was planning to do for the film. So they literally, Michael Mann and like a few other people tried to help mishmash together some sort of idea.
Yikes.
And that's why the end of the movie is shit.
It is shit.
It's really
It's
shit.
pure shit.
But they also cut 2 hours off of it. So it was just a nightmare in the making, pretty much. And it is kind of a nightmare on film, too. Like
A little bit. A little bit. I know the end was the most frustrating part to me. Like,
don't express what it is, but
no, I'm not.
yeah.
I'm just going to say the end is the most frustrating part to me because it's just like,
What
what the fuck was that? Like,
kind of payoff is this?
nothing is explained still, and then it's just done, and then it seems like it never happened. Like,
Right.
I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, ugh.
Well, that's probably why they had Tangerine Dream do it,
Fucking probably.
because they wanted that fairy tale music. Because didn't they do
Well,
Legend
and
as well?
this felt more. This felt more like fantasy, sci-fi to me.
Right. But they
anything
wanted it to
else.
be German expressionism, like I mentioned.
Yeah, which
So
that makes sense.
he wanted to show that it was like a dream in the movie. So, like, almost like kind of reminded me of Legend in some of the scenes.
Well, I mean, and that's what I took away from it, because that's exactly what I said to Mouse at the end. I was like, so was that all a dream?
Right.
Because it feels like it, because everything's normal.
Right, it is weird.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Weird. Just
yeah.
weird. Not good weird.
Well, I mean, he even said, even on his 3.5 hour cut, that he wanted the viewer to not really understand what happened.
3.5 fucking.
That he wanted it to be like a dream. I don't know what kind of drugs he was on.
That's like almost Titanic length.
Right.
Titanic is worth the 4 hours that you spend on it. Like,
I mean, yeah, I would have to agree.
fuck.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I mean, well, first of all, we haven't seen the 3.5 hours, so we can't say. Maybe
This
it's
is
like
true.
it could be the game changer. You know what I mean?
I doubt it, but
The
yeah,
2
you're
hours
right.
of extra footage. I watched some of the extra stuff on YouTube, and I'll try to get a link for it. I saved it in my watch laters, so I can like put that link up for you guys that have watched it, so you can kind of see what the ending is, and you too. So
Me too.
But funny little side note. The actual book, the novel that was written by F. Paul Wilson, there was a character in the book, obviously called Glaken. He was the weird, I don't know, otherworldly alien guy, I guess.
Yeah, what was that?
Well, anyway, the original character from the book called himself Glenn, and Scott Glenn played him in the movie. Coincidence?
I think not.
I think not. I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. As we mentioned, the special effects for the creature were made by Nick Maley. Was helped by Nick Alder, who had previously worked on Alien and The Empire Strikes Back. So they had some talent in there. And I mean, that full body suit was kind of impressive.
Yeah, kind of. The first form, for sure.
Yeah, it kind of felt weird, though.
Second form was kind of like, man. Then third, I was not impressed with.
You're like, what the hell is this?
I was like, this is stupid. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand. He just looks like a weird science fiction-y, like, boss in a video game.
He looks like an alien.
Yeah, he does. He looks like an alien.
Like a weird top-heavy.
A weird silver alien.
Like,
silvery black alien. I don't know.
Huge fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger looking.
Yeah.
Like
Ooh.
his neck looked like it was the most, like he had worked that motherfucking neck out.
He reminds me of the character, the silver dude from Deadpool. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Well, more than that. He had a bigger neck than that guy.
Yeah, but that's who he reminded me
Yeah,
of.
I see what you mean.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, I know that's from something else, and I don't do that comic stuff, Marvel, DC. And
I'm not a gigantic fan.
I'm not a big nerd about it, so I'm sorry. I try.
No,
I just remember the silver guy from Deadpool is what he reminded me of.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Now you got me. Colossus.
Yeah. Colossus. Yeah, and I met that fucking dude that voiced him at Mad Monster. So I feel like I should actually know the character's name.
Why the fuck did you do this?
That guy was so dope. He was like one of my favorite people from Mad Monster. He was so nice.
But needless to say, guys, you're not going to want to Spock check him on the neck because your shit's going to break and it's going to fucking shatter into a billion pieces.
You're not going to want to Spock check him. That's amazing. I want to Spock check everyone forever. The rest of my
that
life.
might be an old
It's
thing.
just like this. This is how you do it.
No, he just karate chopped him in the
But you
neck.
Spock checked him, so you gotta do the Spock hand. Am I doing it?
I don't think he did the shocker to him.
But that's the Spock. Am I doing the Spock hand?
This is the.
Oh no, I'm not. Oh my god. This is why alcohol is stupid.
Brittany.
Fuck you. I was doing the shocker the whole time, you guys.
She watches too many fucking porn parodies.
I do
Porn
indeed.
Trek. She's watching Porn Trek over here, and they did the shocker.
Star fuckers.
And by the way, if nobody in the porn industry has done the shocker for a Star Trek parody show,
they have.
they fucking owe us money if they do.
They absolutely have.
That's all right.
Anywho,
have they really? Have they? I'm gonna look it up now.
Yeah, they have. Sorry about that. Anyway.
Dude, I'm like looking at you like, are you
I'm like,
joking?
I'm doing it, right? Like, I'm not
Like,
at all.
I genuinely thought you were making a joke, and like,
No, I was dead serious. Like, this is what happens when I drink a lot of alcohol. Speaking of that, make me another shot because that shit's good.
We're all loopy up.
Fuck you guys. You know what? That's fine.
Dude, I
'cause
cannot believe you were doing that.
I'm gonna Spock check people like this.
You're gonna break your pinky, dude. Like,
Well, I'll
fucking
switch
snap
it
it
up.
off.
I'll do it this way.
There you go. What, that looks really dark,
way.
whatever you're doing right there. Are you jerking off a horse? What is this?
Ew. Horses' dicks are like this.
Okay, are
Alex,
you
like,
fingering a sheep? I don't know
my
what's going
fist,
on.
Like, my tiny little hands can't even fit around a horse cock. I have baby hands.
All right, well, are you fingering a female sheep?
Yes.
If you looked at her fucking hands, people.
Don't make fun of my little Vienna sausage fingers.
I am
Leave me
literally,
alone.
I am literally shocked
Fuck you.
at this appalling gesture that you're making over here.
My poor sad little fingers all out of this.
All right, back to the trivia. Here we go, folks. We're back on track. As I mentioned about Tangerine Dream, they did this movie with Michael Mann. Stop jerking the sheep off, Brittany.
I can't now. It's just like,
Stop fingering the sheep. But Tangerine Dream did this music for Michael Mann in this movie, but this isn't the only film that they did for Michael Mann. As a matter of fact, they did the movie The Thief, or just Thief, from 1981 with them before The Keep. And both The Keep and Thief are actually considered some of the top synth scores in movies.
it was a good score. Like, I will give it that.
Part of the reason that I even looked this up was because I was actually just like looking for music to stream when I do my game streaming, and they used The Keep and like all these other movies, and I was like, oh shit, like this is in here, and I was like, oh, and Thief. Also, it was interesting. I don't know. I think it's cool.
You're interesting.
Yeah, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck you. I was being nice. Take it all back.
Due to the rights issues with the music, though, guys, the version of the film that is currently available on streaming media sites, so the one, i.e. the ones that we saw, does not have the full versions of the songs, and they might have even added in. I don't know if that's 100% sure, because a lot of it really did sound like Tangerine Dream to me, and it's pretty signature sound, so you know when you hear Tangerine Dream, but I don't know now, but they're saying, this is what I've read about, that the ones on the streaming media sites contains a different score than its original release. There is a limited run of about 150 original soundtrack CDs that were sold at a concert by the group of Tangerine Dream in the UK in 1997. Supposedly, the full version that you can watch and can only be found on VHS and the Laserdisc versions. But we did just get in 2017 of March of 2017, they did re-release the Keep on DVD. So I'm assuming that's the one we watch, because this might be old info.
Yeah.
But also, did you know that they actually made a board game based off this movie?
Why? I'm serious.
I don't know.
Why?
They just lock people in rooms, and it's
I
like,
mean, if
here,
I got like shit housed, I'd probably play it, but
you got to try to collect 108 fucking crosses or whatever.
My life, like Monopoly, it never ends.
I wonder, I didn't get to look into like how the game is played, but I bet you it was like you had to go in there and collect all the 108
Probably.
fucking crosses.
Probably.
And if you got out of there with the crosses, then you were good to go or something like that. I don't know.
No.
But there is, by the way, guys, a documentary that has been made that's been trying to come out for years now, called A World War II Fairy Tale, The Making of Michael Mann's The Keep, that is supposed to be coming out soon. I actually did some research on it. This was an Indiegogo-funded project that never reached its full amount, but they were able to collect some money outside of Indiegogo and actually get the money to make the documentary anyway. So I checked on Facebook, where they seem to be the most active for an update, and they had the latest update was like April 11th of this year, and it was to let people get their crowd-funded copy from the higher tier leveled people. So I don't know what that's all about. Apparently, it fell short of the goal, but like I said, they were able to get outside help, but they haven't posted since, so I don't know if it's out in the wild yet or not, but I'd really like to see it, so I might actually hit them up and see if they have a copy that I can watch somewhere, or at least talk about it later for you guys. But it was, it was supposed to come out in like they raised money for it, I think in either 2014 or 2015, and they didn't hit the goal, and then it took 3 years for it to try to come out.
Fun.
3.5. So
It's a good time had by all.
Right. So I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of that? So now, guys, we're probably going to move on to any spoilers unless Brittany has some other trivia.
Nope.
Okay. We're going to go over our favorite scenes, so obviously that means we're going to be talking about some spoilers. So
Earmuffs.
you might want to earmuffs for the next 5-10 minutes and
Does that work?
check back. So what are some of your favorite scenes, Brittany?
My first favorite scene is, so this is after the first group of Nazis set up shop, essentially.
Well, they're not Nazis. I think they're just German
Whatever.
soldiers.
These German soldiers that may or may not be Nazis.
Well, they're not dressed in black and wearing all the swastikas.
Yeah, they're not
and
all
shit.
like well dressed.
Right. They're wearing green. I was confused.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in this movie. Anyway, this is the first group of German soldiers that settles into this keep, right? And the one soldier figures out that one of the crosses or T-shaped things isn't made of silver, not nickel, which is what they're being told it's made out of. So they are trying to steal it, essentially. And then all of a sudden, like, this, I don't even know, I can't even, like, break down specifically what happens. It's just, like, the guy gets, like, ripped in half at some point.
Well, there's this large
And they
auditorium room, sort of, with all these
Yeah.
crosses that are, like, they're not even, like, full crosses, guys. Like, there's just a little nub on the top where the top part of the cross would be, and then the arms, and then the legs.
Yeah, like little T's.
But it's got, like, a little bump on top, but they're all over the walls, like, every, like, 10 feet.
Like, it's hard to describe without actually watching it, but these two soldiers literally just get, like, ripped apart, and it's
Well, no, just the one.
Well, the one gets ripped in half, like, for sure.
Right,
for sure.
yeah,
But
'cause
they
they-
both turn into, like, bone and ash.
What they do is they dig out the arms of the cross, then wrap their fucking belts around it to pull it out, because there's apparently this block that they can move, and they pull it out, and then they look behind it and they're like, oh shit, another one, and they go inside the hole, try to pull the other one out, and it goes down into a huge pit, right, underneath this base into this cave. And the guy almost falls, and he's got him hooked to his belt, and they're like kind of like trying to hold him back. And then all of a sudden, this thing comes wisping up and burns him in half.
Yeah.
And then he drags the body back, and he knows that it's like not as heavy as it was before. And did you see him? And he's like, just like half of his body's charred and missing.
Yeah, it's basically just, like, dick and legs.
Yeah, it's like his
lungs.
midsection all the way down that you
It was
can
cool.
see. It was
It
cool.
looked cool. It was super just, like, ash and
Oh, they
dusty
does
and-
kill the other guy,
It does
though.
kill the other guy.
It
They
doesn't
both
tear him
die.
apart, though. It slams him into the wall, and he shatters like a
Neck
fucking...
first.
Yeah.
Her head first into the wall. It slams
That's
him into
pretty
the wall,
cool.
and he just, like, shatters into bone
Yeah.
fragments. And I'm just like, oh, that was neat. Like, how did he get all bony and ashy in that time frame? But I don't know. Like, whatever. It was cool. Like, I was into it. I was like, fuck yeah, finally something's happening. Like, I was so bored.
I like that. Is probably one of my favorite parts of the entire movie.
That's your first initial, like, holy shit, it's about to get crazy. And then it doesn't for, like, another 40 minutes.
There's another part in the movie that I really liked that was really cool, too. And I have to preface this with something. It wasn't, like, the highlight of the movie or anything, or my favorite scene, so to speak, but I have to preface it. Because one of the girls, they realize, like, these other Nazis show up. Like, the real Nazis show up, and because there's German soldiers and then the Nazis who are of the First Reich, I'm assuming, and they're, like, there to keep things in order. Meanwhile, the regular German soldiers are the good guys, kind of, and
If there are good guys, yeah.
Right, yeah, like, in this whole story or whatever, but
Right.
he's, like, a humanitarian or whatever.
Yeah, he is the good guy. of
Yeah, it's
the tale.
Jurgen, the character that Jurgen plays, which is Warman. He's like the leader of the German military. And then this other Gabriel Byrne character shows up, Kampfer, and then they kind of have an outs with each other because they want to leave, and they won't let him leave because they know something supernatural fucking going on. But anyway, so these German or the Nazi soldiers try to rape one of the girls. They have two people in a Nazi camp, in a fucking concentration camp. One of them grew up in this area where the keep is, which happens to be in Romania, right?
Romania.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
and
Jewish archaeologist.
so they're trying to rape this girl, walking through the hallways of this keep, right? Which is all black rock, like slate rock. Her father is like a fucking anthropologist, and he knows like the language because there's some writing on the walls after these guys die. And they're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on because they think some of the villagers have killed them. So
Yeah, it's just the language has been dead for 500 years.
Right.
And this guy that they rescued, Ian McKellen's character, is the only person that knows how to read it. And
Right.
he's in a concentration camp with his daughter.
And he's like 70
And
years
he's dying.
old. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's dying of some sort of skin disease or something
Some
like
shit,
that.
some fucking weird.
But while she's getting like attempted rape, these guys are like holding her down and like standing up while they're doing it, which is kind of weird. This cloud of smoke comes out of nowhere with red eyes and a red mouth.
The vape cloud of justice.
Yes, and it is literally pops its head and proceeds to carry her in reverse smoke that's like going in the body, so they just reverse the footage of him walking backwards, but it's so cool.
It is cool.
It's really cool. It's like the smoke is going into his body as he's walking forward. So they just recorded everything backwards, but it's fucking awesome. And I don't know how they did it, because if you're walking backwards, wouldn't the smoke go in front of you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how did they do this?
How did they do this?
It's
I don't
cool,
know.
though. It's a really cool effect.
It is cool.
It's a practical camera trick that works, and it looked really phenomenal. Like you said, it was one of the best first forms of the creature, or the
Yes.
demon, or golem, or whatever you want to call it.
The next best one was the whole like musculoskeletal
Right.
form.
It went from the better to worse.
Went from good to very bad.
Yeah, he didn't smoke anymore. Like, he
No.
didn't have a smoking jacket on in the second
His
form.
vape cloud of justice disappeared. And he just became skin and bones justice, and then just stupid justice.
What about any other scenes for you?
The next one I liked was towards the end.
Okay.
So but I can't like
If it's the end, don't say it.
it's not the end. Nothing in the end was my favorite, but it's like
Okay.
one of the last big hurrahs. Like once he's reached like the demon whatever that's lied to try and get his way out from being held inside this keep.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how this lines up, so
I can tell him.
Be
I know what
honest.
you're talking about.
Okay, but yeah, the whole scene where he takes out all the fucking Nazis, which is just glorious.
Yeah, that's a good...
Like you don't see when it happens, but like the aftermath is really fucking cool.
Right. They were supposed to show it all happen.
Is that what got cut?
Yeah, a lot of that.
Because that would have been cool.
Because they didn't know how they were going to do it.
Well, yeah.
It was probably akin to something like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, but basically what you end up with is this beautiful battlefield of ash and dust and bone.
Charred bodies.
Just bone. And like pieces, people are in pieces. And you see some just skeletal faces that are left on full bodies.
Pieces of people.
Or just, yeah. And it
People
was
for
just,
me.
it was gorgeous. Like, and the color scheme that they used for that scene is just spot on. And it's dark and gloomy and gross and...
The music's intense.
super macabre. The music's really intense, and it worked really well. And I was
Right.
like, "Well, goddamn! Like, okay, this is the climactic moment I've been fucking waiting for." And then it went to another 30 minutes of bullshit after that. So I was
Right.
like, "God, fuck my life! Like, just end it on that note. That was cool." And then they gotta go do some more stupid shit, but whatever. That was visually just fucking stunning.
One of the other parts that I liked was just a little minor part, but like this Glaken guy who's this like fucking alien, I'm assuming, who's like here to protect the planet from this evil, essentially.
Yeah,
Like
he's not explained.
It does not explain it at all, but you kind of get the gist that he's not from here because one, he has purple fucking eyes, guys. Like there's something weird about that, and it's not celestial at all, unless he was an angel. Like was he an angel?
I think maybe more of an angel. Yeah, it kind of feels like it.
But it seemed like it was like otherworldly. Like it wasn't like from another existence or.
I feel like the intention is for him to be an angel because that feels like it works better with the story.
But do angels fuck? I
But
thought they
everything
had no
felt
parts.
so alien.
They had no scrumdiddlyums.
Scrumdiddlyums.
No flip flaps or
No
jam
flippity
jams.
flappity jam jams.
No jam jams.
But it felt so alien-esque to me. Like everything with him in it, and like,
Right.
the movie felt so alien.
Well, he gets shot and bleeds green.
Well, yeah, that too. But even the main demon-esque like monster that's being held within the walls of this keep feels alien.
Right.
He doesn't feel like a demon to me, but I feel like if the other character was an angel, that fits more to the story of what they're trying to tell, but it goes very alien very quickly.
Yeah, and for those
But
that
they
are,
don't explain any of this.
yeah, and
at
for
all.
those of you that are listening now, this is the spoiler area, so I'm just going to explain it. these Nazis go to this fucking keep area, which is just like a big hall of stuff where you would store stuff. There's a couple of rooms that they set up beds in that were not meant for beds. It's just this weird, ominous place that nobody knows why people are caretaking it and like taking care of the place, which I don't know how you take care of a place like that in the first place. What are you going to dust? Like the fucking slate rock?
What are you going to dust?
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Let's be real here.
Yeah, why? And like they ask him in the beginning, they're like, why are you the caretaker? Who's your boss? He's like, my father and his father before him and his father before him for hundreds of years have taken care of this place. Nobody owns it. It is just part of the world. And it's like, what?
Yeah, squeeze me?
And so
Explain.
then they're like, it's weird. This keep doesn't seem like it's supposed to keep anything, but rather keep something in. But they don't really say that. They cut that part out in some of the other ones, so I don't know. I'm confused what I saw now. They insinuate that in the movie.
I'm confused by this entire movie.
But anyway, long story short, they open that hole in the wall. The two German soldiers get killed and mutilated, and some evil escapes out of it and starts infecting the town, essentially. And like the demon that presents himself and tries to save the anthropologist's daughter, Eva Cruz, who almost gets raped, or sort of does. I don't know if she really did, but whatever.
She didn't.
He saves her and brings her to her father, and then his father's like scared out of his mind, and he knows that it's nice somehow, so he's kind of fooled by this demon a little bit. And they're from a Nazi camp, and they were told that if they have to go back, they'll be fucking murdered, and there's no escape. And so they're just kind of like biding their time at this place. And this thing's gaining forms and killing more people. And then it tricks the anthropologist, Mr. Theodore Cruz. It tricks him into saying, hey, I'll kill all these Nazis at the concentration camps and save all your people if you let me out by getting this key for me. And you find out that the key isn't really to let him out, but to keep him there because he's so evil that he'll destroy the world. And so then Gaelic comes in to try to save everybody, gets killed, and then comes back to life, doesn't really die. It's confusing. I don't know.
Climbs up a giant mountain.
Yeah. Have you guys... And to tell you what the ending is, so you know the part at the very end, guys, and this is spoilerific, guys. Not really, because the ending sucks, but she kind of escapes with her father, who was old but got turned old, or got turned young and then got turned old again because he defied the demon and didn't want to kill his own daughter. So he turns him old again, and she has to carry him out. And then Gaelic goes in to fight the demon, but they don't show any of that, really. It's kinda. But supposedly he goes in and tries to get out, and it sucks him back into the hole where those guys pulled the thing out, sucks him into the cavern. She goes back in to save him in the bottom of the cave, and then walks through and finds him, and now he's human. And so she just embraces him. And then apparently there's some still footage where they show them on a boat together leaving.
What?
I don't know. Going back to Greece?
Oh.
I don't know. But guys, have you seen this movie? Do you understand this movie? Do you want to see this movie?
Explain it to us if you do.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, 2 hours are cut off this movie. I hope it sees the light of day. I would be very interested in seeing it. I'm also very interested in seeing a World War II fairy tale. I would love to see the documentary of the making of this movie because it's obviously got some pretty interesting history to it. And Michael Mann was on a lot of drugs.
Yes.
Actually, I can't confirm that. I'm just making that up. But
that's my guess.
He's a severely intelligent guy who's made a lot of really great movies since. But I just want to know what he was on to make this. So
yeah, me too.
But we got another movie that we're going to be talking about called The Church. Brittany, take it away.
So this movie is called The Church, which was released in 1989. Quick little synopsis of this film is an old Gothic cathedral built over a mass grave develops strange powers which trap a number of people inside, with ghosts from a 12th century massacre seeking to resurrect an ancient demon from the bowels of the earth.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, pretty much. It does, actually. This was directed by Michelle Soavi. Anyway, so this is going to be a big fuck you to Alex for making me say Italian people's names.
Hey, you picked it.
I did pick it, and then afterwards I was like, "Fuck me!
I
Like,
thought it-
why do I do this every time?"
While I was doing the notes, I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, she's doing this one. And then I was like, haha. I was like, she fucking picked this one? It's so weird. Like,
shut
why
up.
would she pick this one of
I
all the
like
movies?
this movie. So Michelle Soavi, who did Cemetery Man, which we did an episode on, which was excellent, by the way. The Sect and Blood of the Losers, and a metric fuck ton of other films.
Stage Fright.
Yes, your face.
That is a great movie.
You're a great movie.
It's a Giallo, which, by the way, Mark Doubt's going to be doing a shit ton of Giallo stuff this
Good.
week, or this next week.
Excellent.
Or actually this week. Yeah, it's this week.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for him. That's awesome.
It's actually really good. He's really good at this stuff.
This had a number of writers behind it, but I'm going to mention two specifically. It was written by Dario Argento, story and screenplay, who is most well known for Suspiria, Demons 1 and 2.
Production-wise.
Yeah, Inferno, and a bunch of other shit. So if you don't know who Dario Argento is, then why do you listen to us? And also Franco Ferrini, who did the screenplay as well. He's known for Two Evil Eyes, Trauma, and Rings of Fear, and a bunch of other things as well. So it stars Hugh Quarshie, who plays Father Gus, known for Nightbreed, Ghosted, and most recently Red Sparrow. It also stars Tomas Arana, who plays Evan from The Sect, The Bodyguard, Body Puzzle, and Chimera.
And the amazing
Fyodor
Chaliapin.
Chaliapin Jr., who plays
Chaliapin.
Chaliapin Jr., who plays the Bishop, known as from The Executioner of Venice, The Inner Circle, and Transplant.
Yeah, I think he was in one of the other famous Argento movies, and I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I'm sure you're right.
Okay.
It also stars Barbara Cupisti, who plays Lisa from The New York Ripper, The Hell's Gate, and she was also in Cemetery Man.
Booyah.
Last but not least that I'm going to mention is Asia Argento, who plays Lotte,
Lotte.
which of course is Dario Argento's daughter, one of his two children. She was in the 1998 version of The Phantom of the Opera, Triple X, and Land of the Dead.
And also in Demons
Well, yeah.
2. She was the little girl that was trapped in the car in the garage when they tried to get out, and her father got eaten in front of her, and she was
Yeah.
crying in the window. A lot of people, by the way, I just want to mention this real quick. A lot of people think that that was like really ruined her, but she wasn't scared of stuff like that. She never was.
Well, yeah. Look at who her dad is.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, but he would never even let her on her sets. So
That's crazy to me.
yeah, she just like
If I did this
naturally
shit and I
had
had
an.
kids, like my kids would be with me all the time because I'm like, you're just gonna be naturally exposed to shit like this. So you're not a giant.
Would you just
pussy.
got to teach him that way? You know what I mean? You got to be
Yeah.
like, this is not real. Don't
Exactly.
worry.
Exactly. Anywho, surprisingly, this budget surprisingly to me because I felt like it was a higher budget than what it had, but it was a $3,500 million estimated budget for this film, and it was released on March 10th, 1989 in Italy, and had quite a bit of a wide release in other countries as well,
Yeah,
which we'll get
it's
into
sprinkled in. Yeah.
later. Yeah. So Alex,
Yes, Brittany.
I don't care what your thoughts are, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
What were your thoughts on this movie, Alex?
Well, I really,
I'm really intrigued.
honestly, I really feel like this movie is highly underappreciated.
Agreed.
It could be that some of the people that classified this movie as Demons 3, because kind of technically it was, but it isn't.
We'll get into that too.
And it's so vastly different from the first two Demon movies. The second one, which Lamberto Bava did, who was Mario Bava's son, actually directed but turned down the third one. So somehow this sort of turned into a Demons 3 sort of thing, but it doesn't follow any of the same rules that the first two Demon movies does. So I think it's got some very genuinely creepy parts in it. Lots of weird, like, iconography, the devil and Satan, you know, sort of tropes and things like that, with, like, kind of a pretty kick-ass soundtrack that it was comprised of both Keith Emerson from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and also Goblin did music in this, as well as Philip Glass, who had done some work in the industry as well. But so you sort of know what to expect when you hear that, first of all. Synthwave everything, you know what I mean? That mixed with the visuals that they have in this movie and some of the amazing camera shots that they set up and like different techniques that they used worked really well. Michelle Soavi I think this is probably one of the better films that he's done, other than like Cemetery Man, which is probably his masterpiece. But I really think this is worth a view if you enjoy Cemetery Man. It's not a humorous approach like that movie was, where it's kind of like
this is more serious.
It's way more serious, but it is so unique in the whole like church demons. Like it's kind of sticks to like a real, like what you would expect Satan and demons and shit like that to be, almost like a Rosemary's Baby approach to it, but within a church and a little bit different. But I think it has a lot of really amazing practical effects and makeup and shit in this movie. They have like a full bodysuit fucking goat in this fucking movie that's killer.
It's so dope.
Dude, it's like the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like it really is that cool.
It is cool.
A lot of people have said that this movie is a little too slow, and I can understand where they're coming from, especially if they're trying to compare it to something like Demons or Demons 2, which makes total perfect fucking sense. But I personally think the pacing, the music, and everything work really well together. It's not a movie that you watch while you're on the phone, guys, so you're gonna want to try to like dim the lights,
pay attention,
like sit down and fucking like really lock yourself into it. I've watched this movie so many fucking times, and I partially watched it because I had heard people comparing it to Demons and all that and saying it was the third one unofficially. But I don't know. I if you try to go into it with a different perspective than something like Demons 1 or 2, which is very physical, almost like Aliens in the second one as well, I think that you'll be into it a little bit more, because it's more of like a psychological thing, but it's also not. Like it shows everything that you psychologically see. So it doesn't like withhold any punches. It's got some genuinely weird moments that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it gets really better each time I watch this film. Like I have a better appreciation for it every time I've watched it. And it's in my yearly rotation of my must watch every year. So, if that helps you to figure out how much I appreciate this movie. But what about you?
I've actually really enjoyed this movie for a number of reasons. But how I'm going to kind of break down my thoughts about this film, it's going to also include more detail about what happens in it. Not any spoilers.
Okay.
But just kind of give you guys like a little bit of a backstory and go more into depth about the actual premise of what you're going to watch if you haven't watched it yet, or what you watched if you've already seen it.
Okay.
If you're a fan of Italian horror, particularly in the 80s variety, you already know what you're going to expect from the church. There's some semblance of a plot, and although it isn't all that in-depth, does it really even fucking matter?
I think it's a little in-depth, though. I think it is.
It gets to it in some points, but I mean, if you're just looking for an excuse for demon-like creatures, breathe fucking easy, because you found it.
Yeah.
In this fucking film. Like, in the beginning, we're introduced to this backstory, which involves a band of Teutonic knights in medieval Germany.
Right.
That massacre a village of supposed devil worshippers and bury their bodies underground. They build a Gothic cathedral over the mass grave as a means to contain the quote-unquote demonic evil within it, right? So, cut to modern day. The church is welcoming in this new librarian who's there to catalog the huge library of books that are being held within this church. However, at the same time, there's construction taking place.
Restoration,
and they uncover this crypt that's beneath the entire building. So this crypt, which of course the inquisitive librarian opens, because otherwise he wouldn't have a fucking movie. He ends up unleashing hell, quite literally.
Yeah. Out of curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat, folks.
The film very quickly becomes a claustrophobic clusterfuck of epic proportions, as the church's only door in or out is sealed completely shut, thanks to the original architect's plan to keep the evil spirits from escaping. So we're left to watch in awe as the characters plunge into their own individual, bloodthirsty, lusty madness, and it is a beautiful thing to witness.
Right.
The most stunning thing is the imagery that's created by this film, because they found the perfect way to balance grace and gore.
Yeah, it just has like this weird, trippy kind of vibe where it's dreamlike. And it, in a lot of ways, like I picked these two movies because for whatever reason, they kind of remind me of each other in this weird dreamlike world, because things are happening. and they're kind of out of this world, but then they also kind of make you wonder if they're really happening, right?
Yeah. It was just really cool. Like, I was very impressed because initially in the first probably 30 minutes or so of the movie, like, it doesn't necessarily draw you in. It takes a while to really build. And then all of a sudden you watch this, like, religious contagion that comes throughout the church and it takes over people. You literally watch them descend into fucking madness slowly but surely in their own individual ways. And it is fucking brilliant. And it is beautiful.
I thought it was really good. Like, I remember the first time I watched it, I always like, it's okay. But then, like, I've always remembered it. And I'm always like, oh, that's so weird. I don't think I've ever seen another movie do some of the stuff that they do in this movie.
No.
And they do it very similar to, like, the old traditional Gothic sort of demons and, like, religion and stuff. You could tell that it was, like, done through the eye of, like, a painter. Almost like a lot of the people that did this movie, they used some of that, the artwork from those times to kind of make shit for this movie.
Yep.
And Michelle Soavi talks about it a lot. And I don't know, like, I'm so glad it just came out on Blu-ray like a couple months ago. I picked it up for like, I think it was like $13 on Blu-ray, and I was like, fuck yeah. And it's got like Michelle Soavi talking about it, and it's also got Asia Argento, and she speaks Italian in there too. I was expecting her to just talk like in English, but no.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
awesome.
she speaks 2 languages at least, minimum.
I wish I spoke 2 languages.
Wow, we live in America. We
I
don't
speak
study more than
sarcasm in English. That's,
yeah.
it's about as far as my,
We study selfishness and egos. I'm just kidding.
whatever. In touching on the fact that we were just talking about the references and everything to old artistic works for this film, it does contain many allusions and references to religious artwork, which kind of, I feel like, ties it together the best.
That's what I loved about it, because it looks traditional.
It
like
does
really
look traditional. It's absolutely fantastic. And like the designs for the reptilian gargoyle demon specifically that wraps his arms around the butt naked chick.
Right.
Yeah. He is taken directly from an infamous 17th century woodcut of a man that is selling his soul to the devil.
Bosch, is that what it is? Bosch?
Believe you're correct.
Yeah, I think it is. I saw there's a painting of it.
And while the image of the naked woman no, that's what you're thinking of. The image of the naked woman that's embracing the demon is lifted from the painting Vampire's Kiss.
That's the one,
by the fantasy artist Boris Vallejo.
Right. Okay.
Which, I mean, it's pretty spot on.
He looks like a gargoyle, but I don't know.
From the painting.
Oh,
like
yeah,
what
they did it exactly
visually.
like it. Yeah.
It's pretty beautiful. But yeah, I mean, they really did delve very, very deeply into ancient religious artifact artwork, and you can tell, and it's beautiful.
I think it's really good.
It is, and it just goes along with the overall feel from the movie. So it feels authentic and it feels realistic, and I don't know, I really took that away from it because I love anything that has to do with old Gothic churches. I'm so just boner city about it, but
well, and surprisingly, like, I know a lot of people that are not big fans of the 80s movies, they'll like try to watch them and be like, oh man, his lips aren't even syncing up and shit like that. And yeah, they're speaking Italian in the movie, but it's like English dubbed. But one thing I will admit though is that the acting in it, even physical or even the actual recordings of the English dubs were really good.
it's really good. Like, we were debating on if it was actually dubbed or not.
Right. Well, I think some of the actors do speak English, but a lot of them don't, like, well, so they usually dub them.
Yeah.
They did that a lot with a lot of, like, Fulci movies and stuff like that. But honestly, like, the acting in this is really good. Like, I was, like, surprised because a lot of the movies from that time are very, it's just weird acting. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's not as bad. It's just different than most people are used to.
Right. Well,
very theatrical.
It always comes across differently when you're viewing it in a different language than what it's filmed in.
Right. Yeah. I always wonder that too. Like when people watch like English movies or like British or
totally
American or
overacting.
Yeah. Like what they
crazy.
think what it is in another language, because it can ruin it. Like I have a friend in Germany who's like, he's watched South Park. And in the South Park fucking
German
Kyle.
South Park.
Yeah, the South Park Kyle. But he sounds completely different. Like,
Oh, no,
it's like
Kyle's
really
like the best
weird.
character.
Right. Is it
One of the
No,
best.
no,
Are
no,
you
not
talking about
Kyle.
Cartman?
Cartman, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Cartman's annoying in any language. So
Right. But
doesn't
he's
matter.
really bad in Germany. That's
Oh,
what
I
he
believe
said.
it.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe it.
Yeah.
Like, he's annoying as fucking English.
He's like,
so-
I only watch it in English, but, you know, he's like, it's funny because,
Yeah,
like...
Cartman sucks in whatever language you watch him in. So, period.
All right.
Doesn't matter. To get into a little more trivia on this movie, the film is very loosely based on the short story The Treasure of Abbot Thomas. It adapts the central premise of a librarian working at a Gothic cathedral shrouded in a dark supernatural past.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun, sound familiar. Writers Dario Argento and Franco Ferrini initially conceived the film as the third and final entry in the popular Demon series, which we spoke about a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
However, director Michelle Soavi, a longtime protege of Argento who had served as assistant director on several of his films, insisted that the film stand alone and not be connected with the first two entries, rewriting it to remove any direct references to the previous films or their mythology.
Which is, like, first, no, hearing that after watching, I love Demons 1 and 2, by
Right.
the way. Like,
I know you
I
do.
kind of want, like, there's a piece of me, a side of me that goes, man, I wonder what it would have been like, because to me, Demons 1 and 2 is so unique and different than any other Demons movie that you really get to see other than, like, Evil Dead. Specifically in part 2, because they took the blood of the demons, anytime it got spilled, it would burn through the fucking floor and melt people and their face and shit.
Right.
And it was so cool. Like, I'd never seen
It
anything
is
like
fucking
that.
cool.
But in the same regard, I still like this movie, but there's a part of me that really wishes I could have seen that other version too.
Yeah, I feel like everybody does,
In a perfect world.
to be honest. Yeah, in a perfect world, exactly. There was an interview that Sophie did with Cinefantastique.
Mm-hmm. The magazine or whatever?
Right,
Yeah.
which he explained that he wished to move beyond with his creations following the film's release. And what ended up coming from that was a severed partnership with Argento. So basically the things he said about how he wanted to take this movie and elevate it and separate it from Demons 1 and Demons 2 and make it its own kind of entity ended up severing this longtime partnership between the two of them, which I feel like is really sad.
They're best friends, though.
But it could in this time frame though, when this was released, it completely just like
Really? I never heard that. He didn't talk about it in the movie, in the extras. I don't know where that is from, but they've been friends ever since. So
same.
Cinema Fantastique said this?
this is what he said to them.
In the interview that they had with him in the extras on the Blu-ray.
It doesn't seem like it adds up.
No,
right?
because he had even said that Argento and the other writer who put this together originally, he said, go ahead, change anything you want about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they all three worked on a new script to make it different.
I don't know if maybe this was just like bad blood at the time.
Huh, that's weird, because I wouldn't think Cinefantastique
Would report something like
would
that?
say that. Yeah,
necessarily?
but I
Yeah.
don't remember there being any real bad blood between them for anything, because even Asia Argento, she was like, in her part in the extras, she was like, it was so great, like watching him direct. He's like, he has such an amazing vision. And he was like, and it was like watching my dad's best friend in him, you know, like he was an assistant then, but he was the best friend.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
But hey, you read it from there. So
What the truth holds.
let's blame
in that.
them, guys.
However, you know.
kidding you.
Speaking of the writing and the writers on this film, though only Soavi, Argento, and Ferrini are given on-screen writing credits, additional rewrites were made by Dardano Sacchetti and Lamberto Bava, with the film's medieval prologue being penned by Bava's brother Fabrizio. I just really wanted to say Fabrizio. English language dialogue was written by ADR director Nick Alexander, bringing the total number of writers on the film, credited or otherwise, to 8.
Makes sense. I mean, they probably conceptually were trying to come up with something as good as like 1 and 2 of Demons.
Yeah.
And so it got changed so many times they had to go in and fucking fix it. So
Right.
makes sense.
So I know that there's a little bit of talk about where they originally wanted to shoot this movie, which was, of course, in Nuremberg, Germany. And they even did some test shots there when they were preparing to film the movie. However, it was abandoned because the town of Nuremberg didn't want a horror movie to be shot there,
In a church, especially.
especially in a church.
Right, yeah.
So the production ultimately settled on using Matthias Church in Budapest, which
Right.
is an architecturally similar and historically significant location that is actually the real-life burial ground of both Bela III, which was the king of Hungary and Croatia between 1172 and 1196, and Agnes of Antioch, who was the queen of Hungary, who married him from 1172 until 1184, and she was his first wife.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of interesting history that ties that together.
And there's actually a book that inspired this movie a lot too. Fulcanelli's the book called The Mystery of the Cathedrals, which talks about at the year like 1000, I think it was like 1,000 years, all of a sudden all these churches started popping up, these like Gothic cathedrals.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. Like, and not just like in Germany or anywhere, everywhere. Like just all of a sudden. And it was weird, like there's a lot of history. I kind of want to read this book, but he talks about it, and he said that, when he hands that book to her, he's like, here, you can borrow this Fulcanelli's book, and she takes it home with her, and that's when she gets like all freaked out by weird shit in the window, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he also said, like you said, he was inspired by the paintings
primarily
of hell, and he said it was also a painter named Bosch, or somebody who did a lot of the extra stuff he like literally painted all of these like paintings for the movie. So I don't know, I just thought it was interesting because they wanted to do that like architectural sort of thing. That's why I say the story's a lot deeper than I felt you may have thought, because like they went into detail about how it was built, why it was built.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more.
You really did. It was really thought out.
Well, she was mentioning earlier that they talk about the Teutonic Knights. They were also known as the Kingdom of Jerusalem because they were like an order that was to protect churches that were preaching Christianity, because there was a lot of people. It was like during the Crusades kind of time. But they were, like she said, from Germany. They called it the Order of the Brothers of the German House of St. Mary in Jerusalem. Try writing that on a card.
For real.
Who served the Holy Roman Emperor in 1515 later on. But it was formed in 1190, so it's we're talking pretty old shit here, guys.
Pretty old shit.
Yeah, but Teutonic Knights were like she said, a German crusading military order. But I thought it was really interesting that they would do this during the Holy Land and all the different the Baltics, they called it, during the Middle Ages. Some of I wanted to go into a little bit about what Asia Argento said about. She said she was like 12 or 13. Michelle Soavi thought she was like 14. But she said she was about 12 or 13 when she did the movie. And she said one of the scenes that she did where she had to go to the like dance discoteca.
The discotheque?
Yeah.
The discoteca.
Yeah, she had to go there, and she said she was like the youngest kid there.
She looked
and
like
she
it.
said she was mortified because she was just so young and she had to do this acting role while all these older kids, like older adults, were like dancing and stuff. She's like, I was really supposed to be a 16-year-old in the role, but I was like 12 or 13 when I actually did it. She also talked about the soap scene where she sees her father's demon face, which that demon face is directly from one of the paintings that Bosch guy, I believe, did. So they built a face for that specific from the painting. So I thought that was really cool. She said that the actor was kind of rude to her, though, and the soap that they put in her mouth was actually toothpaste.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they like just put it. They just wanted to make it seem like foamy, so it seemed
Better
like
than actual soap.
right.
So.
And she said it did burn her mouth, and she hated it.
Well, yeah, like copious amounts of toothpaste will burn your
Right,
mouth.
because it's like not just especially
It's
old
baking
toothpaste.
soda.
Right.
Shit, like ow.
Did you know that the girl in the wedding dress that gets stuck in the door?
Mm-hmm.
She was the girlfriend of Dario Argento.
Really?
Yeah.
Neat.
So that was his girlfriend in the scene in the wedding dress, and she said that she was like really into herself into that. So you could kind of tell.
You can see it because that character
Right.
is super into herself. So.
Right. So she kind of fit.
Yeah, it works. It works really well. You picked the breast character.
The breast?
Pick the breast character. Alex, so what are some of your favorite scenes from this movie?
Well, I have quite a few. There are so many really good ones. It was really hard for me to pick.
Yeah, I have a lot.
Like it really was. There was a scene. It's not really so much like gory or anything like that. It's just like very trippy and really well done. like well shot, well edited, sound, everything. Like I loved everything about it. It's when the librarian guy goes down and takes the goat or lamb head on the cross that's on the ground. It's got it's like a lamb head with
Like a
7
million
eyes,
yeah.
and a seal. It's like a seal on this cross in the middle of the cross, and in the basement. And he opens it and like looks down and sees the cross fall, which is really cool, into this whole water scene. It was like a mirror or something. It was really cool. And then he reaches down, which I would have been like, fuck that. I'm not reaching down in that shit. He reaches down and finds like a bag, this like dirty old fucking leather bag. And he opens it up and all these little hands come out of the fucking bag and start choking him, like all these like rotted hands and like demon fingers and shit like that. I thought that was cool. But it strangles him. And he's like choking himself with like his dirty hands, and it's kind of like symbolizing he's possessed or getting possessed, that he's been infected by the evil somehow. But they did keep the scratch thing in there, like they do in the Demons movies, because if someone gets scratched by a demon, they turn into a demon, and then you're
infected faster.
Yeah, it's like a zombie thing almost. But like he scratches his hand on this piece of glass or whatever the fuck it was. There's like a piece of glass. I don't even understand why it was there, but it was in the hole of the cross. And you see, like, when he reels back after the cross fell through and the hands come out and choke him, you see him lay back, and then you see the cut on his hand. Well, that was a thing in the Demons 1 and 2. So if you look at the iconography of the goat or the lamb head with the 7 eyes and the 7 horns, that is directly from Revelations 5:6 in the Bible, where they say, and this is like the newer version, by the way, I'm sure it's changed a million times, to fit whatever, says, "Then I saw a lamb looking as if it had been slain, standing at the center of the throne, encircled by 4 living creatures and the elders. The lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth." Which, if you've never read some Revelations, dude, some fucking trippy ass shit, dude.
The Bible is trippy ass shit.
They talk about fucking beetles flying around, like gigantic beetles that some people kind of say that it could be like helicopters, that they didn't know what helicopters were back then. Because these were all visions, and Revelations is like an acid trip, by the way. Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. I just wanted to kind of tell that in there too. So, what about you? What's one of yours?
I don't remember his fucking role in the whole movie, and I don't really care. But all I know is he's an abusive father, and he's a piece of shit. Anyway.
Sacristan.
So what? Yeah, sure.
That's what he is.
He ends up he slowly becomes possessed, and he throws himself on top of a jackhammer.
Fuck yeah.
Which is amazing. And then Father...
Whatever, the father guy.
The main guy that ends up
Father
saving
Gus.
the whole thing. Father Gus, thank you. Father Gus, kind of catches on to the fact that something's wrong with this guy, and he ends up following down to like this basement area, and then he sees that he's thrown himself on this jackhammer, and it is this beautiful fucking scene of him just being like, what the fuck? And then just like, and then the blood ends up opening up.
Yeah, well,
this is what goes into the mechanical pieces in the church and what seals the door.
So he's like, literally, guys, he stick a jackhammer, the spiky part that you use.
In his gut.
In his gut, lays on it, he balances on it and goes through him. And then when he falls on his back and it's poking out the back of him, it like touches the seal of the cross and it shakes the whole fucking church to activate the safeguard to keep everybody in and all the evil in.
And then all of a sudden...
That's when shit goes fucking
you've got
haywire.
This chick that's in this big, beautiful bridal gown that is standing in front of the main door of the church, and the photographer that's taking pictures, right? And you see this very slow moment of the doors closing behind her, and her realizing the doors are closing and trying to move, but it catches the dress and the veil.
Right.
And she's stuck. And she's completely, like, closed into this door herself, and now she's basically captured. She can't get out.
Which is a really cool scene because...
It is a really cool scene.
It milks the, is this really happening? And is this as dangerous as it seems?
Absolutely. And then you get to watch her slowly go insane.
Right.
Because of that, which is really cool.
Which I'm sure Argento really enjoyed watching her. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I was his girlfriend at the time. So.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that scene was really cool, and it was very dramatic. And it happened very slowly, but it paid off cinematically in the end. Like, it just looked beautiful.
Right.
So I love that scene as well. So I said 2. So go fuck yourself.
No, that is a really good scene. I just left that part because it's like the part where that's where the
shit gets real from that point on.
That's like where the second act is like.
Yeah, it's all.
We're ready, or maybe it's actually.
We're ready.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
It gets nuts after that point.
The remember we talked about the goat, and how it looks and everything. There was that scene where the girl goes home. And she looks out the window and sees the goat head licking the window, sort of thing.
Oh, it's so weird.
And then, like, she, like, goes to run with the phone into the bathroom. And then you hear something scuffling outside of her bedroom, or out of the bathroom, I should say. And it yanks the cord from her and, like, pulls the phone into the door while she's calling the police.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's like a really effective scene.
Yeah, and then she jumps headfirst out the window and ruins it.
Right, and you see that like time has like gone by really quick or something.
Yeah, it's weird. Like that was one of the scenes that I didn't really quite understand.
It makes sense to me because like, well, I mean, it either could be that it's a really small place where she lives.
Because this was before they all got trapped in the church.
Yeah, because she was literally on the phone and everything happened within less than a minute, and the police were there. And there's like no way that all fucking happened and they were there. Yeah.
I felt like that was such a weird throwaway scene, but at the same time it worked in a weird way, even though it was not central to the plot at all. It was still cool. But just because that like very split flash moment of the goat licking the window,
it's great,
is so weird and uncomfortable.
Right, because no movie does that. No movies do that.
Yeah, no, not at all. And then when she slams the door shut on the phone cord, and all of a sudden the whole phone gets shoved back into the door, I was like, God damn, all right, what is that? And they're like, what's happening? And then I'm like, wait, who is this, and why are we even here?
Right.
You know?
Well, I've always felt like it was the fucking librarian, but because remember he called her on the phone.
Yeah, it's
and like was like changing at a phone booth.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's pretty cool though.
Yeah, that's right. That's the whole phone booth scene.
Yeah, it's almost like the scene from Monster Squad. If you've ever seen Monster Squad,
miraculously bleeding from the forehead, and I'm like,
did you ever watch Monster Squad?
Yeah, but
well, there was a part where the fucking the Wolfman goes to the phone and calls like Sean's dad, and he's like, "You gotta save your son. I can't prevent myself." It's kind of like that. It reminds me of that scene in particular.
Right.
Even though it's, I think this was after it. So I wonder if they got... No, there's no way. Anyway, do you have another scene or...
Can we talk about the weird bromance chemistry between the two young boys that was so like Michael Jackson-esque, like
the mirror
Neverland
thing?
moment? That was so weird.
They say that when you die, if your friend doesn't watch you when you sleep, then and he doesn't see you, then you'll never die, or something like that.
That was so weird and uncomfortable.
And then he
cool.
changes into him. Like that was cool.
Person.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see this weird hand come up and drag him down, and that's it.
Right.
That's it. And then you see another weird kid that was smoking in the pews
go
up, and there's another kid that's inside the plastic on the walls.
Right.
And he goes up and fucking bites into the dude's arm that's behind the plastic. Nothing of that is explained. It's just this weird visual, and I
loved it.
That is so fucking cool and so
the kids are really
uncomfortable.
creepy.
The kids are super fucking creepy. And in that moment, I was just like, ew.
The weird thing about this whole scene, by the way, is that bad shit's happening and other people have seen it. But it's like they're in their own minds, almost. Like they're, like they're in their own hell. And it's like they're not aware of the other people and what's going on.
Right.
So it's really, really surreal.
The best one, though, in my opinion, of those weird, like, cutaway kind of story scenes was the old couple.
Oh, yeah, the Bats and the Belfry chick.
Dude, like, this old couple is just, they're a fucking pain in the ass the entire time. Like, and
this goddamn contraption isn't working.
Yeah, they somehow managed to get up to the bell tower, and she's trying to convince her old-ass husband to help her, like, bang on the bells, right? But
to get attention,
To get attention, but they can't find the cords to pull on them, so they're just trying to bang on them, right?
And he's, like, been complaining this entire time.
The whole time.
Right.
Talking about how horrible it was to climb up these stairs and blah, blah, blah. Like, he's just being a whiny old man, and she's just basically like, fuck you. Like, we're trying to get help or whatever. And then the scene cuts, and then they go do something else. And then all of a sudden it cuts back to them in this bell tower, and the wife has the husband's head in her hands.
Right.
And she's banging on the bell with her husband's fucking head.
Right. It's pretty cool.
And it's amazing. Like that whole there was no explanation needed whatsoever in that scene.
Yeah, they don't
and
even show her cutting his head off. It's
No,
just-
they don't show it. And you don't need to. I
Yeah.
felt like if they would have shown it, it would have taken away from it. It would have completely taken away from the impact that scene had. If
Right.
They would have shown it. Like it was
'Cause it's
just
like-
so bizarre.
What the fuck?
And weird, and it was hilarious. And like I mentioned, you get to watch all of these characters slowly descend into their own personal fucking madness, whether it's violent or lusty or
Right.
whatever they want to envision.
Right.
It's fucking crazy and it's super bizarre. And that was when I was just like, holy shit, that was cool.
Yeah. There was like a group of motorcyclists that stopped
Yes.
into the church for like a minute for like water or something. I don't even
and
know
then
what
they
the
get
fuck.
stuck there and trying to go to a concert.
Yeah, but they figure out that they're going to try to like escape, and she goes. They break through some floor or something, and she's like dangling, and he's like holding her by her arm.
I almost forgot about that scene.
Yeah, and she turns, and she's like, "Oh my god, thank you for catching me," kind of thing. And then she sees light, and you're like, "What is that?" And then wham, whammy.
Literally.
Yeah, she gets splatted against the side of a fucking subway train.
It's amazing.
Which doesn't really make too much sense
Not at
because if the basement is the lowest part, wouldn't it mean that they built like a subway through the basement where all the bodies were?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
It
really-
doesn't make sense, but it doesn't matter because it looks cool, and this all plays into the whole fact of it's all in your head
Right.
kind of thing. So I loved that.
That
scene.
was cool, yeah.
It was
Just the way her face looks too.
It
It's
was
like,
so cool. Like she melts. Like she looks like a giant crayon that just kind of like.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It was neat.
The other one is sort of towards the end. It's just really creative and like what the fuck is
Talking
going
about
on?
the goat sex scene.
No, the flesh tree. The bodies.
Oh, I love that scene.
It looks like a fucking like a demon's head that's made out of entire bodies and like real people too that are
It's
like
dope.
balanced on it and covered in like this weird brown sludge that comes up out of the middle of the floor of the fucking church, which is so weird. And like I all I kept thinking while all this shit was happening is this is done in a real church. Yeah. Like what the fuck? I remember Asia
kind of
Argento.
sacrilegious pieces. Of
Right.
shit is
She
going
said
on
that
here.
they had to desecrate they had to de-desecrate or whatever the fuck. She explained it as like, I don't think it was translated really well because she was speaking in Italian.
Right. They basically had to unfuck what they did.
Well, they had to unfuck it before they fucked it so that it wouldn't be fucked.
yeah, and then unfuck.
They
it again.
unconsecrate, deconsecrate is what the words were. Deconsecrate the grounds before they shot the film so they could then again consecrate the grounds again over top of it after they were done. So it's like, what? Like, I don't understand that. But yeah, I'm thinking the whole time, like, all this shit's going on in this fucking place. And like, man, Budapest is the shit, dude.
Right?
They're like, fuck yeah, we got some money. I don't give a fuck.
Who cares?
You want to fuck a dog? Go ahead.
Fine. You want a goat creature to fuck a chick? Cool.
Yeah, whatever.
Who cares? Like,
You want to bang a head against a belfry? Go
we
ahead.
don't give a fuck down here in Budapest.
But yeah, I don't know, guys. I really think this is worth a watch. And if you
it's
haven't
dope.
seen it and you like Italian horror films, I think you should own it.
Yeah.
At the very least, try to find it to watch it and then get it because it is out on Blu-ray right now for relatively cheap. Highly recommended. It's like I said, if you've seen Demons 1 and 2, it's not going to be the same, but it is definitely going to be something you should add to your collection, I think.
There's some really cool scenes that occur that we didn't talk about, so we didn't spoil everything.
Right. There's so many things that happened
There's a
that
lot.
I loved.
There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack in this film too, but in a different kind of way
Right.
than what they keep. Like this just makes sense and visually and storyline works along really well.
Yeah.
In comparison to the other film, but I don't know, watch it. I'm glad I did. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. I'm glad you liked it.
I really did.
I mean, it's pretty much a no compete here. You guys probably already
not.
figured
We
it
love
out.
The Keep. That's our favorite.
I still like The Keep. I still want to see the full version of it. I'm anxiously awaiting the documentary. Definitely keep your guys' eyes out for that if you want to at least see something about the movie being made. But I would check it out. You can rent it on Amazon for like $3.
I would like to watch the documentary.
They did have The Keep on Amazon Prime for a while. Mm-hmm. But then now you have to
Of course,
rent it.
when we want to watch it. you
Well,
gotta rent
because
it.
the movie came out in March 2017 for But I remember it being on Amazon Prime for like a long time, dude. So
I remember seeing it.
yeah, so I don't know why it had that weird face, the like Final Form on the front with the red eyes.
Yeah, and we're like, why?
Yeah. It's like the shitty cover that
like,
they didn't
okay.
want to do, but like the cover for it is really awesome because it spells out the keep in the building. It's really cool. But I don't know. I definitely give it to The Church because it's just a better movie.
Agreed. 1000%.
If you're still looking for something that's like what we were talking about
I mean, the
the
keep is
keep.
cool in its own way. I feel like this is going to be like some people are just really going to fucking love it and suck its dick, and other people are just going to absolutely hate us for telling them to watch it.
I think it's
So-
just got elements of things that you're just like, holy shit,
It
that
does.
was
I mean,
fucking badass.
It has redeeming qualities. Like, don't get me wrong. It has its moments that are decent enough to keep you into watching the hour and a half of the movie. However, for 3.5 hours, I don't think I
Yeah.
can tolerate that shit. So
Yeah, that's a
that's a
huge-
marathon fucking movie. Like, it's
Right.
hard. I mean,
this ain't no Dances with Wolves.
No, this
ain't
is
no
not
Titanic,
Titanic.
yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
But it's
fuck
funny because
you.
he did movies like Ali, which was a big success with fucking Will Smith.
Yeah.
Playing Muhammad Ali. Fucking other fucking great movies that are really good too. Like, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's weird.
What is this?
This is definitely during the drug phase of Michael Mann's life. I'm
For
pretty sure.
This is definitely like his redheaded stepchild like moment.
But yeah, guys, if you haven't already seen that, have you seen these movies? Do you like these movies? Which is your favorite movie? Please sound off in the comments below and let us know what you think about these. We always greatly appreciate you guys coming by every week. And as always, make sure you share with us, with your friends, because the more people we reach, the bigger we can get, the more we can do for you guys.
Yeah.
We are still waiting on a few people to sign up for the VIP club. I don't know if everybody listens to the end, so I probably should have added this in the beginning. But we're doing the VIP thing, so we only need a couple of more entries. Once you're in, we can do the giveaway, and you guys will be entered. Literally, we're waiting for like 2 or 3 more people. That's 75 people that are subscribed to our account, to our fucking email. Once we get that number, which is not very many people, you have a 1 in 75 chance to win.
A picture of my butt
Right.
that I drew on a Post-it. And signed.
Right.
You're welcome.
She's going to shit in a box and kick it your
Shit in
way.
a box and chuck it at your face.
No, we're going to do a digital gift card for $20 to $25, whatever Amazon will allow us to do. I think it's $25. But yeah, it's like $20, $25 gift card for you guys, just for signing up, just for listening, just for sharing, just for helping us out. We really appreciate you.
It's free money.
But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or anything that you want us to watch or something like that you'd like us to go over, please
Tell
let us
us.
know. We got a few interviews that are coming up here soon. I've been trying to get organized with it, but man, it's just been nonstop fucking work, man. Like, we've been busy as fuck. So we've got about 3 interviews lined up, and a guest friend supposed to come on. So we got a lot lined up. I think actually we got 3 people, 3 friends, 3 interviews from people in the industry. They want to be a part of the amazing podcast that you guys are a part of listening right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming by. Hope you have a great week this week. And as always,
Stay weird, monsters.